The mountain was quiet when Park Tiho returned to his cabin. He had been gone for 7 days, walking through the deep valleys with his camera, taking pictures of birds and deer and the morning mist that covered the trees like a white blanket. His legs were tired. His backpack was heavy with equipment, but his heart was light. The mountains always made him feel peaceful. Tiho was 32 years old. He had thick black hair that was always messy, and a face that looked older than his age because of a long scar that ran from his left eyebrow to his cheek. He got that scar during his time as a soldier, many years ago. He did not like to talk about those days. He came to this mountain to forget them. His cabin was small and made of dark wood. It sat alone on the side of the mountain, surrounded by pine trees. The nearest village was 3 hours away by foot. Tiho liked it that way. He liked the silence. He liked being alone. But when he pushed open the cabin door that evening, he knew immediately that something was wrong. The air smelled different. There was a strange sweetness to it, like flowers he had never seen before. He stood in the doorway for a long moment, not moving, just breathing and listening. His soldier instincts, the ones he thought he had buried, woke up inside him like a sleeping wolf opening its eyes. He stepped inside slowly. The first thing he noticed was the food. He always left dried meat and rice in a wooden box near the stove. The box was open. Some of the food was gone. Tiho walked to the table in the center of the room. There were marks on it, strange symbols scratched into the wood with something sharp. They were not Korean letters. They were not any letters he had ever seen. They looked like stars connected by thin lines. Tiho put down his backpack. He did not reach for a weapon. He did not have one anymore. Instead, he stood very still and listened. There, a small sound, a rustle of cloth. It came from the storage room at the back of the cabin. He walked toward it. His footsteps were soft on the wooden floor. He had learned to move quietly during the war. Some skills never leave you. The storage room door was slightly open. Through the gap, he could see only darkness. He reached out and pushed the door. It swung open with a long, slow creak. For one heartbeat, he saw her. She was crouched in the corner, behind old boxes and forgotten tools. Her skin was pale silver, like moonlight made solid. Her eyes were large and violet, filled with a terror so deep that Tiho felt it in his own chest. Her hair was white and seemed to float around her head, moving slowly even though there was no wind. She wore torn clothes that looked like they were made from something that was not fabric. She was not human. When the door opened and the light touched her, she made a sound. It was not a scream. It was something smaller and more broken, a sound of pure fear. She pressed herself deeper into the corner, her thin arms wrapping around her body, her violet eyes never leaving his face. Tiho did not move forward. He did not speak loudly. He had seen this kind of fear before. He had seen it in the eyes of children during the war, children who had lost everything and trusted nothing. You could not approach that kind of fear with force. It would only make things worse. He took one step back. The creature, the woman, watched him. Her body was shaking. Tiho slowly raised his hands, showing her that they were empty. Then he lowered himself to the floor, sitting down with his legs crossed. He made himself small, less threatening. For a long time, they just looked at each other. She was thin, too thin. Her silver skin was dull in some places, and there were dark marks on her arms that might have been wounds. She had been running from something. She had been running for a long time. Tiho thought about what he should do. He could try to contact the authorities, but what would he say? There is an alien woman in my cabin. They would think he was crazy, and even if they believed him, what would happen to her? Scientists would come. Military people would come. They would take her away and do things to her that Tiho did not want to imagine. He looked at her shaking body. He looked at her terrified eyes. No, he would not call anyone. He pointed to himself. Tiho, he said slowly, my name is Tiho. She did not respond. She probably did not understand Korean. She probably did not understand any human language. He pointed to himself again. Tiho. Then he pointed to her and tilted his head, asking a silent question. She stared at him. Minutes passed. Tiho did not move. He just waited. Finally, so quietly that he almost did not hear it, she spoke. Her voice was like wind through leaves. Lyra. Tiho nodded. Lyra, he repeated. She flinched when he said her name, but she did not run. Slowly, very slowly, Tiho stood up. He moved backward out of the storage room. He went to his food supplies and took out some rice and dried fish. He put them in a bowl. Then he walked back to the storage room door. He placed the bowl on the floor just inside the doorway. Then he backed away again. Eat, he said, even though she could not understand him. You are safe here. He went to the other side of the cabin and sat down in his old chair by the window. He looked outside at the darkening sky and the trees moving in the evening wind. Behind him, he heard a small sound. He did not turn around, but he knew she had taken the food. That night, Tiho slept in his chair. He did not want to go to his bed in the corner because it would mean walking past the storage room, and he did not want to scare her again. He lay there in the darkness thinking, an alien, a real alien from somewhere beyond the stars. She had come to Earth. She had come to his cabin, and she was hiding. Not attacking, hiding. That told him everything he needed to know. Whatever was out there in the universe, whatever she had run from, she was not the dangerous one. She was the hunted one. Tiho closed his eyes. He had spent years trying to forget how to protect people. He had left the army because he was tired of fighting. He had come to this mountain to live alone, to take pictures of birds, to be at peace. But some things are not chosen. Some things choose you. In the storage room, a frightened creature from another world ate rice and dried fish and watched the closed door with wide violet eyes, wondering if this strange human would hurt her like everyone else had. Outside, the mountain wind sang through the pine trees, and the stars above watched in silence. Among those stars, something was searching, something cold and patient and terrible. It would find her eventually. But tonight, at least, she was not alone. 7 days passed since Tiho found the alien woman in his storage room. 7 days of careful movements and quiet patience. 7 days of learning to live with a creature from the stars who was afraid of him. Lyra did not come out of the storage room during the day. She stayed hidden among the boxes and old tools, watching through the gap in the door. Tiho could feel her eyes on him as he moved around the cabin, cooking his meals and cleaning his camera equipment and reading old books by the light of the window. He did not try to force her out. He did not ask her questions she could not answer. He simply lived his life and let her watch. Every morning he left food near the storage room door. Rice, vegetables, sometimes meat. In the beginning, she waited until he was far away before taking it. But slowly, day by day, she began to take the food while he was still in the room, as long as he did not look directly at her, as long as he pretended not to notice. On the 4th day, she came out at night. Tiho was sitting by the fire, adding wood to keep the flames alive. The cabin was warm and orange with firelight. He heard a soft sound behind him and knew it was her, but he did not turn around. He just kept watching the fire. From the corner of his eye, he saw her move to the window. She stood there for a long time, looking at the night sky. Her silver skin glowed faintly in the darkness, and her floating white hair moved like it was underwater. She was beautiful in a strange and sad way. She pointed at the stars and made a sound, a word in her language. Tiho did not understand it, but he understood what she meant. She was pointing to her home. He stood up slowly and walked to stand beside her, keeping some distance between them. He pointed at the stars too. Space, he said in Korean. Then he pointed down at the floor. Earth. She looked at him. Her violet eyes were still cautious, but the pure terror from the first night had faded. She pointed at the stars again and then at herself. Tiho nodded. Yes, you came from there. She touched the window glass. Her fingers were long and thin, with an extra joint that humans did not have. She traced a pattern on the glass, connecting stars into shapes. Then she shook her head and made a sound of sadness. Tiho understood. Her home was gone. Over the next days they began to communicate, not with words but with pictures. Tiho found an old notebook and pencils. He drew simple things: a house, a person, the sun. Lyra watched him draw, and then she took the pencil and drew her own pictures. She was a good artist, better than Tiho. Her lines were clean and detailed. She drew her world first, a planet with 2 suns and tall crystal cities. She drew her people who looked like her but with different colors of skin, blue and green and silver. She drew them living peacefully, working and building and raising children. Then she drew the ships. Dark shapes in the sky, hundreds of them, thousands. They covered her world like a black cloud. She drew the crystal cities burning. She drew her people being taken away in chains. She drew machines that looked like nightmares with too many legs and eyes that glowed red. She drew herself running, hiding, finding a small ship, flying through a hole in space that looked like a crack in broken glass, landing here on Earth on this mountain. Tiho looked at the drawings for a long time, then he pointed at the dark ships. What are they called? She did not understand Korean, but she understood his question. She took the pencil and wrote symbols beneath the ships, symbols he could not read. Then she spoke the word aloud, her voice trembling. Valith. It was the first word she had said since telling him her name. Tiho pointed at himself. Why did you hide from me? I am not Valith. She tilted her head, thinking about how to answer. Then she started drawing again. She drew a human, a simple figure with 2 arms and 2 legs. Then she drew that human surrounded by alien bodies, dozens of them. She drew the human holding weapons and fire. She drew ships falling from the sky with flames coming from them. Around the human figure, she drew a circle. Then she drew alien creatures outside the circle, all of them running away. She pointed at the human in the drawing. Then she pointed at Tiho. He did not understand at first. Then she took out another piece of paper and drew something new. It looked like a page from a book. At the top, there was a symbol that might have meant danger or warning. Beneath it, there was a drawing of Earth, and beneath that, a human figure with many red lines around it. Lyra spoke slowly, pointing at different parts of the drawing. She was trying to explain something important. Humans, she said, practicing the word she must have heard him use. She pointed at the warning symbol. She shook her head. She drew more lines on the paper, fast and sharp, an X over the human figure, not just one X many. Then she looked at him with her violet eyes, and he finally understood. The Valith, the empire that destroyed her world, had records about humans. They had files and warnings. And in those files, humans were not listed as weak or primitive or easy to conquer. Humans were listed as something to avoid. Do not engage, do not provoke, stay away. Tiho sat back in his chair. He was just a photographer, a retired soldier who took pictures of birds. How could his species be dangerous to an empire that conquered entire worlds? Lyra seemed to read his confusion. She took the pencil again and drew a new picture. This one was simpler. It showed a human falling down, injured, broken, but then getting back up, falling again, getting up again, over and over. She pointed at this drawing and touched her chest, right where her heart would be if she had one in the same place as humans. Humans, she said again, never stop. She drew one more picture. A small human figure facing a large monster, a creature 10 times its size. The human should run. The human should hide. But in the drawing, the human was running toward the monster, not away. She looked at Tiho. Her eyes held a mixture of fear and something else, something that looked almost like hope. This is why I hid, she said slowly, each word careful and heavy. Because humans are dangerous. The most dangerous things the Valith have ever found. They destroy everything that threatens them. Everything. She paused, but you gave me food, you did not hurt me. She touched the drawings of her burning world. Then she touched the drawing of the human who never stopped fighting. Maybe, she whispered, humans destroy what threatens them, but maybe they also protect what does not. Tiho looked at this alien woman, this refugee from a dead world, who had crossed the galaxy and landed in his cabin. She had been afraid of him because everything in the universe told her to be afraid of humans. But she had stayed. She had taken his food. She had come out of hiding. Because she had nowhere else to go. He reached out his hand slowly, giving her time to pull away. She did not move. His fingers touched her silver hand. Her skin was cool and smooth, like touching river stones. "You are safe here, Lyra," he said. "I will not let anyone hurt you." She did not understand all his words, but she understood enough. Outside, the mountain wind blew through the pine trees. The stars watched from above. And somewhere far away, in the cold darkness between galaxies, something was still searching. But for now, in a small wooden cabin on a quiet mountain, a human and an alien sat together by the fire, learning to trust each other one picture at a time. 3 weeks had passed since Tiho found Lyra in his storage room. In that time, she had become braver. She no longer hid during the day. She followed him around the cabin, watching everything he did with curious violet eyes. She learned more human words every day. Simple things at first: water, fire, food, sleep. Then harder things: thank you, good morning, I am okay. Tiho taught her and she taught him. He learned some words of her language too. They were strange sounds that hurt his throat, but he tried. She always smiled or did something with her face that looked like smiling when he got the sounds wrong. She helped him in the cabin. She learned to cook rice. She learned to wash clothes in the stream. She was not very good at these things, but she tried hard. Her hands moved differently than human hands. She had trouble holding chopsticks, but she never gave up. One evening, Tiho took her outside for the first time. They stood on the wooden deck behind the cabin and looked at the valley below. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and pink and purple. The pine trees made long shadows across the snow. Lyra stood very still. Her floating hair moved in the cold wind. Her silver skin turned golden in the sunset light. "Beautiful," she said. It was one of her favorite new words. Tiho nodded. "Yes, beautiful." She looked at him. "Your world has many beautiful things. My world had beautiful things too, before the Valith came." Her Korean was getting better every day. She still made mistakes. Her voice still had that strange musical quality, but Tiho could understand her now. "Tell me about your world," he said. She was quiet for a moment. Then she started talking. She talked about crystal towers that sang when the wind blew through them. She talked about forests made of glass that sparkled in the light of two suns. She talked about her family, her mother, her father, her younger brother who loved to make music with machines. "All gone now," she said. Her voice was flat, not sad, just empty, like she had cried so much that she had no tears left. "The Valith took everything. They use my people as fuel for their ships. Our bodies have special energy, very valuable to them." Tiho felt anger in his chest. "That is evil." "Yes," Lyra agreed. "But they do not think so. To them, we are not people. We are resources, like your wood for fire, like water for drinking." She looked up at the darkening sky. "They will come here eventually. Maybe not soon, maybe not for many years, but they will come. Every world in the galaxy they take, every species they harvest. It is what they do." Tiho looked at the stars that were beginning to appear. "Then we will fight them." Lyra shook her head. "You cannot fight them. They have conquered thousands of worlds, millions of species. They have ships as big as mountains, weapons that can break planets." She turned to face him. "This is why I hide, Tiho, not just because I fear humans, but because when the Valith come looking for me, they will destroy anything near me, anyone who helps me." "Let them try," Tiho said. Lyra stared at him. Even now, after 3 weeks, he could still surprise her. That human stubbornness, that refusal to accept impossible odds. She opened her mouth to respond, but then she stopped. Her body went rigid. Her violet eyes grew wide. Her floating hair moved faster, as if blown by a strong wind that Tiho could not feel. "Lyra, what is wrong?" She did not answer. She was looking at the sky, looking at something specific, something far away. Then Tiho saw it too. A light in the sky, not a star, not a plane, something different. It was blue and cold, and it was getting brighter. It was falling toward the earth, toward the mountains, toward them. "No," Lyra whispered. "No, no, no." She stumbled backward, almost falling. Tiho caught her arm. "What is it? Lyra, tell me what that is." "A hunter," she said. Her voice was shaking. "They sent a hunter." The blue light grew brighter. It disappeared behind a distant mountain peak. Then the ground shook. A deep sound rolled across the valley like thunder. "What is a hunter?" Tiho asked. Lyra pulled away from him. She ran into the cabin. Tiho followed. Inside, she was grabbing things. Her torn alien clothes, the drawings she had made. She was stuffing them into a bag. "I have to go," she said. "I have to run. I have to lead it away from here." "Lyra, stop." Tiho grabbed her shoulders. "Tell me what we are facing." She looked at him with those terrified violet eyes, the same eyes from the first night, the prey animal eyes. "A hunter is a machine," she said, "made by the Veilith, made to find refugees like me. It tracked my signal across the galaxy. Now it is here. Can we hide from it?" She shook her head. "No, it can see heat. It can smell fear. It can hear heartbeats from miles away. It will find me. It always finds us." "Can it be killed?" Lyra stopped moving. She looked at him like he had said something insane. "Killed? Tiho, you do not understand. The hunter is not alive. It is a weapon. It learns. It adapts. It feels no pain, no fear. It has destroyed entire armies. It has killed species that were older than your sun." She grabbed his hands. "Please, you must let me go. If I run, maybe it will follow me. Maybe it will leave you alone. And if it catches you?" She did not answer. She did not have to. They both knew what would happen. Tiho was quiet for a long moment. He looked around the cabin, at the fire, at the drawings on the table, at this woman from another world who had come to him broken and afraid and who had slowly learned to trust him. Then he walked to the corner of the cabin where an old wooden chest sat covered in dust. He had not opened it in 5 years, not since he left the army, not since he came to this mountain to forget. He knelt down and opened the chest. Inside were things from his old life: military equipment, a knife with a black blade, rope and hooks, night vision goggles, a first aid kit, clothes made for combat, and other things. Things he had built himself during long nights when he could not sleep, traps, explosives, tools of a soldier who had learned to fight enemies much bigger than himself. Lyra watched him with wide eyes as he began to take things out of the chest. "What are you doing?" Tiho looked at her. His face had changed. It was harder now, more focused, the face of the soldier he used to be. "The hunter has never fought a human before," he said. "Tonight it learns what that means." Lyra grabbed his arm. "You will die, Tiho, please. No one has ever killed a hunter, not once in 10,000 years. Tiho smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who had accepted something. "Then I will be the first." He began to prepare. He checked each piece of equipment. He loaded his gear. He studied the terrain around the cabin in his mind. Outside, in the darkness of the mountain night, something was coming. Something ancient and terrible. Something that had never known defeat. It moved through the forest like a ghost. Its red eye scanned the trees. Its sensors searched for the signal of the refugee. And soon, very soon, it would find this small wooden cabin. It would find the alien woman it was hunting. And it would find a human who refused to run. The hunter arrived at midnight. Tiho heard it before he saw it. The forest went silent. The insects stopped singing. The wind stopped blowing. Everything became still, like the whole mountain was holding its breath. Then the trees began to fall. Huge pine trees that had stood for 100 years crashed to the ground one after another. Something was moving through the forest, and it was not walking around obstacles. It was walking through them. Tiho stood on the ridge above the cabin. He had left Lyra hidden in a cave half a mile away. She had not wanted to go. She had cried and held his hands and begged him to run with her, but he had shaken his head. "Stay hidden," he had told her. "No matter what you hear, no matter what happens, stay hidden until sunrise." Now he waited alone in the darkness, watching the tree line below. The hunter emerged from the forest. It was tall, 3 meters at least, maybe more. Its body was white like bone, covered in armor that seemed to be made of the same material. It had 2 arms and 2 legs, but they bent in the wrong places, like a spider standing upright. Its fingers were long and sharp as knives, and where its face should be, there was only a single red eye that glowed like burning coal. Behind it the forest was burning. Wherever it walked, heat followed. The ground steamed. The snow melted. Small fires started in the dry grass. The hunter stopped in front of the cabin. Its red eye moved slowly, scanning, searching. Then it turned its head and looked directly at the ridge where Tiho was standing. It had found him. The hunter made a sound, not words, a signal, a warning. In every language of the galaxy it meant the same thing: do not interfere. Tiho raised his hand and showed the hunter a different signal, one that humans understood very well. Then he ran. He had studied the terrain for years, every rock, every slope, every path through the forest. He knew this mountain like he knew his own body. The hunter was faster than him, stronger than him, but it did not know the land. The first trap was at the bottom of the ridge. Tiho had spent hours digging holes and covering them with branches. As he ran past them, the hunter followed. Its heavy body crashed through the covers. The ground collapsed beneath it. It fell into a pit lined with sharp wooden stakes. The stakes broke against its armor like chopsticks against stone. But the hunter had to climb out. That took 10 seconds. 10 seconds Tiho used to reach the next position. The second trap was fire. Tiho had spread fuel across a narrow path between 2 large rocks. When the hunter entered the path, he lit it. Flames rose 5 meters high. The heat was so strong that Tiho felt it from 50 meters away. The hunter walked through the fire like it was nothing. Its white armor turned black with soot, but it did not slow down. Tiho kept running. The third trap was the cliff. There was a place where the mountain dropped suddenly into a deep ravine. Tiho ran straight toward it. At the last moment, he grabbed a rope he had tied to a tree earlier and swung across to the other side. The hunter did not stop. It ran off the cliff and fell. For a moment, Tiho felt hope. The ravine was deep. Maybe the fall would damage it. Maybe it would be stuck down there. Then he heard a sound from below, the sound of metal claws scraping against stone. The hunter was climbing up the cliff wall. It was learning, adapting, getting smarter with every trap. Tiho ran again. The night became a blur of running and fighting. Tiho used every trick he knew. He triggered rock slides. He led the hunter into swamps where it sank to its chest. He threw explosives that he had made from supplies he brought years ago. Nothing stopped it. Every time he hurt it, it healed. Every time he surprised it, it learned. Its armor repaired itself. Its movements became faster, more efficient. And Tiho was getting tired. His legs burned. His lungs screamed for air. He had cuts on his face from running through branches. His left arm was not working right after a fall. But he kept moving. Near dawn, the hunter finally cornered him. Tiho had reached a dead end, a wall of rock that he could not climb. He turned around and saw the hunter walking toward him slowly. Its white armor was cracked and burned. Its red eye was flickering. He had heard it. He had heard it more than anything had ever heard it before. But it was still standing, and Tiho could barely breathe. The hunter stopped in front of him. Its eye studied him. For a long moment nothing happened. The machine seemed confused. This small soft creature had fought it for hours, had damaged it, had refused to stop even when victory was impossible. The hunter's head tilted, analyzing, trying to understand. Then it moved. Its tendrils, long, thin arms that had been hidden in its back, shot forward and wrapped around Tiho's body. They lifted him off the ground. They squeezed. Tiho felt his ribs crack. The red eye came close to his face. Heat poured from it. Tiho could feel his skin burning. The hunter made a sound. It was almost like a question. Why did you fight? Why did you not run? You knew you could not win. Tiho tried to speak, but blood came out instead of words. The hunter squeezed harder. Tiho's vision went dark at the edges. This was it. This was how he died. On a mountain, fighting an enemy from the stars, protecting a woman he had known for only 3 weeks. He closed his eyes. Then he heard her voice. No. Lyra came out of nowhere. She was running toward them, her silver skin flashing in the first light of dawn. In her hands she held something, a small device that glowed with blue light. The hunter dropped Tiho and turned toward her, its eye focused on the device. Recognition, fear. Lyra screamed and slammed the device into the hunter's chest, into the small gap in its armor that Tiho's explosives had created hours ago. Blue light exploded everywhere. The sound was deafening. The ground shook. Tiho was thrown backward against the rock wall. When he opened his eyes, the hunter was gone. In its place was a crater. Smoke rose from the blackened earth. Pieces of white armor were scattered across the ground, melting into nothing. Lyra was lying on her side, not moving. Tiho crawled toward her. Every movement sent fire through his body. His ribs were broken. His arm was useless, but he kept crawling. He reached her and turned her over. Her violet eyes were open. She was breathing. "The device," she whispered. "From my ship. I saved it, in case they caught me, to end myself before they could take me." Tears rolled down her silver cheeks. "I was going to use it on myself, but when I saw it hurting you," she could not finish the sentence. Tiho held her hand. His blood dripped onto her silver skin. "You saved me," he said. "You saved me first," she answered. Above them, the sun rose over the mountains. Birds began to sing. The world woke up as if nothing had happened. They lay there together on the cold ground, broken and bleeding, watching the light spread across the sky. They had won. Against all odds, against a machine that had never known defeat, a human and an alien fighting together. Somewhere in the galaxy, the Valith would learn what happened here. They would learn that one of their hunters had been destroyed. They would learn that a human had fought it and refused to die. And they would be afraid. 4 weeks after the battle, Tiho was finally able to walk without help. His ribs had healed slowly. His left arm was still weak. The burns on his face would leave scars that would never fully disappear, but he was alive, and every day he grew a little stronger. Lyra took care of him during those weeks. She cooked for him, even though her cooking was strange and often too salty. She helped him change his bandages. She read to him from his books, practicing her Korean and making him smile when she said the words wrong. She had changed too. The terror that had lived in her eyes since the first day was gone. She still looked sad sometimes when she thought about her world and her family, but she no longer looked like prey. She looked like someone who had survived. One morning they sat together on the deck behind the cabin. The spring was coming. The snow was melting. Small flowers were beginning to grow in the spaces between rocks. The mountain was waking up from winter. Lyra looked at Tiho. Her floating white hair moved gently in the breeze. Her silver skin was warm in the sunlight. "I have been thinking," she said. Her Korean was much better now, almost perfect. "About what happens next." Ti-Ho nodded. He had been thinking about the same thing. "The Valith will know," Lyra continued. "They will know that their hunter was destroyed. They will send more. Maybe not soon. They are far away, and this is a small world in a small corner of the galaxy. But eventually they will come." "Let them come," Ti-Ho said. Lyra smiled. She had heard him say that before. The first time she had thought he was crazy. Now she understood. "You really believe that, do you not? That you can fight them? That humans can fight them?" Ti-Ho looked out at the mountains, at the valleys and the forests and the streams that ran down from the peaks. He thought about his world, about the billions of people who lived on it, people who had fought wars and survived disasters and built civilizations from nothing. "I know humans," he said. "We are small, we are soft, we do not live very long, but we do not give up, we never give up." He turned to face her. "The Valith have conquered thousands of worlds. They have destroyed millions of species, but they have never faced anything like us. Do you want to know why humans are marked as dangerous in their files?" Lyra nodded. "It is not because we are strong," Ti-Ho said. "It is not because we are smart or fast or have powerful weapons. It is because we care." He pointed at the scar on his face. "I got this scar in a war. I was trying to protect a village full of people I had never met. I almost died. Many of my friends did die. And do you know what happened after that?" Lyra shook her head. "More soldiers came, more volunteers, more people willing to die for strangers." Ti-Ho's voice was quiet but strong. "That is what humans do. We find things to protect. And once we find them, nothing in the universe can make us stop." He reached over and took her hand. Her silver fingers wrapped around his rough human ones. "You are my thing to protect now, Lyra. This world is my thing to protect, and if the Valith want either of them, they will have to go through me, through all of us." Lyra was quiet for a long time. Tears rolled down her silver cheeks, but she was smiling. "My people were not like that," she said. "We were peaceful. We did not fight. When the Valith came, we tried to negotiate. We tried to reason with them. We thought that being kind would save us." She looked at her hand in his. "It did not save us. Nothing saved us. My entire world, my entire species, gone because we did not know how to fight." She took a deep breath. "But you taught me something, Ti-Ho. You taught me that kindness and fighting are not opposites. You were kind to me. You fed me. You protected me. And then you fought a monster from the stars because you did not want it to hurt me." She squeezed his hand harder. "I used to think the Valith were right to fear humans. I thought you were dangerous because you were violent. But I was wrong. You are dangerous because you love. You love so strongly that you will destroy anything that threatens what you love." She stood up and looked at the sky, at the blue expanse that hid the stars behind it. "I will stay," she said, "here with you. Not because I have nowhere else to go, but because I choose to." She turned back to him. "When the Valith come, I will fight with you. I will learn to be dangerous too. I will learn to protect." Ti-Ho stood up beside her. His body still hurt, but he stood straight and tall. "Then we will teach them together," he said. "We will teach them what happens when they come to this world, what happens when they threaten the people we love." Lyra nodded. Then she did something she had never done before. She stepped forward and put her arms around him. A hug. She had learned it from watching him greet the old man from the village who brought supplies sometimes. Ti-Ho hugged her back. He was careful not to squeeze too hard. Her bones were lighter than human bones, more fragile. They stood like that for a long time. A human and an alien, a soldier and a refugee. Two survivors from different worlds, holding onto each other in the morning sunlight. Far away in the cold darkness between stars, the Valith Dominion received a report. One of their hunters had been destroyed, on a primitive world called Earth, by a species called humans. The commanders looked at the report. They remembered the files they had on the species, the warnings, the classifications. Extinction level threat if provoked. One of the commanders suggested sending a fleet, wiping out the planet before the humans could become a bigger problem. The other commanders disagreed. It was too far, too expensive. One lost hunter was not worth the resources of a full invasion. They decided to wait, to watch, to send more scouts in a few decades and see if the humans were really as dangerous as the old files said. They made a mistake. Because on Earth, on a mountain in Korea, a man and an alien were starting something new. They were talking about the future, about building defenses, about finding others who would fight when the time came. And in cities across the world, strange things were beginning to happen. Scientists were finding pieces of white armor that did not match any material on Earth. Satellites were detecting unusual energy readings in the mountains. Governments were asking questions. The universe had come to Earth, and Earth was not going to ignore it. Tiho did not know it yet, but he was not alone. There were others like him, other humans who had seen things, who were preparing, who refused to be afraid. When the Valith finally came in force, many years later, they would not find a primitive world waiting to be harvested. They would find a world that had been waiting for them. But that is a story for another time. For now, on a quiet mountain, a man and an alien sat together watching the sun cross the sky. She was teaching him words from her language. He was teaching her how to make proper Korean soup. They were happy. And sometimes, that is the most dangerous thing of all. The stars watched from above, and for the first time in a very long time, they were afraid of what was growing on the small blue world below. They were right to be afraid.